Out on WRMN. It's the talk of the town, so come on and listen now.
Hey, and we are back. You are listening to Dino's Night Out, WRMN 1410, just like the little jingle tells you. But today, we're going to cut the music at our second little part here, just a little short, because we got some great in-studio guests, and I'm going to introduce them to you. And I met this first gentleman, Greg Schiller, and he's with Street Reach. And that's a gentleman at microphone number 3, seat number 2. And just a good guy. Met him through Mark Bialik. Like I said, Mark was real instrumental with keeping everybody posted what was going on with the Tent City situation. So that being said, I'm also going to introduce you now to Andres Diaz. And this is the Executive Director for Food for Greater Elgin. So, gentlemen, welcome to the show. Glad you made it today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love it. I set the stage on a like a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live thing of what we were going to talk about. And today it is. It's not just a tent city thing. It's really community involvement. And me personally, as far as my part, and I've said this to a few people, it's like I'm coming to a party late that I was never even really invited to. And when I heard everything that was going on, and I said, well, maybe we can help. So he says, you know what? We got a lot of airwave power and we can get this message out. So that's what we've been doing. We've put some panels together and we brought the city and some of these advocates, which that's what Greg is. Greg Schiller is an advocate and he works with 3 other great people, Angela Aiden, Odalise, Landa, and then Joe Mysick. And I had opportunity last weekend. They invited me over to the Lexington Hotel, and a real eye-opener. You get to see firsthand, what's happening there. They had set up an early morning, 7 a.m. breakfast, and it was nice. Everybody got to get some non-perishables as well because they had boxes of other food items that they could take with them. And it, you could hear the people getting more settled. I think this is the end of the second week. Yeah, maybe starting our third. And there was still some challenges, you can't deny that. And we have to be mindful, and a lot of accolades to the city, to the board members, council people, whoever you want to call. Everyone involved has done an outstanding job. They saw there was a situation, and they've got some people off the street. Some didn't want to, but they got the majority that are there are pleased that they are, and they're off the street in a warm, safe place. And we got some neighbor issues. We have all kinds of different things going on. But I think if you hear some of the things that happened this week, maybe you're going to get that feel good, walk away feeling a little bit better than we did. And nothing's going to be perfect. This is a situation that was escalated just by virtue of the necessity. So, some people say, well, they should have surveyed where to put people a little better or this or that. Well, this was at least the best at the time. And I'm not privy to any of the city's planning. I wasn't on any planning board. I know that Chief Lally was on it, Chief Sagan, credible people. Jenna Henson, she represents the city. And I think they've done an outstanding job for what they had to work with. So this is what this was. And kind of what happened was a full circle these past few days by just a simple inquiry and question. Greg was on this week on Marky Bialik's show.
I've been spending a lot of time with you guys.
Yeah, well, we love having you, Greg.
I love being here.
And Greg came on and he made an appeal like, hey, you know what? We need to get food because what was going on, the people that were there that were, placed into the Lexington, they had no way to get food and there's no delivery service type of a thing. Not that we're looking for, red carpet service, but, there was some type of, hey, we need food. These folks have to have, nourishment. So Greg made an appeal and there's an attorney that is receiving donations.
Carolina Hernandez.
Okay, and where are they located at? Remember?
112 Spring Street, North Spring Street.
They're at 112 Spring Street, and they're continuing to take donations in light of what's kind of transitioned, where it's not as dire of a need, we'll say, those donations. But please, the donations, getting the community involved to do this is still a good thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we're coming into a
ahead.
much bigger operation now,
Right.
but we still need the donations.
And so what happened was my brother with the Rotary is Mike Warren. And we were talking just regular business, that we had for the station here. And I brought up, I says, Greg was on the show and there's this need out here. And he says, well, what are you talking about? There's a shortage of food. And he also, I believe, serves on the board. Am I correct on that, Andres?
Longtime board member.
There you go. Over at the Food for Greater Elgin. So he was like, well, what are you talking about? We got on the phone within seconds. Andre says, we could do this, we could do that. Well, let's try this, let's try that. I'm trying to text Greg, Greg, hey, we got a great in. Let's see what we could find out here. And then in the meantime, again, because the amount of people that were going to be at the Lexington, I guess, doubled in size, Greg?
Just about, yeah.
Okay, so this put a heavy burden and a heavy load on Jenna Henson. So she says, you know what, I could use some help. And I know she reached out even to the Ken Brutally, which is with the Elgin Township. He's a supervisor. And they were talking about, hey, can you help us with transportation? Mark Bialik is one of the trustees over there as well. He offered to do some help. So that was already going into motion. Hey, we got to get these people fed. And, of course, Andre says, hey, look, you come here. I'll fill whatever truck up you need, whatever you need. Well, along that line, we started realizing that there may even be a better way. They have these meals that are already packaged. And it's like, wow, this would be a great deal. And what's the name of that, Andres?
They're called X Factor.
Okay.
And these are prepared meals. This is a company similar to HelloFresh. They've had this business for a while. And we wanted to do something that would be easy to prepare. And all they have to do is basically be microwaved, because most of the residents will have a microwave at the Lexington.
Yeah, perfect
And,
setup for a hotel room.
Exactly. And so I reached out, kudos to Northern Illinois Food Bank. I explained the situation, and they're now sending us a couple thousand boxes on a weekly basis, entirely for free. And because we have the facilities, we have a very large cooler, a very large freezer, we're able to work with the meals in such a way that when the need is there, we can either present the refrigerated or a frozen one. So from a supply point of view, there simply is no issue.
Isn't that wonderful? And that was just, again, I'm telling you folks, with just a few phone calls, Andres, boom, pops into action on this. And then again, immediately I made sure, I said, hey, Mark, check this out. And I called Greg.
And it turned into an answered prayer.
Isn't it something? I mean, really, what is going on is just short of a miracle and a prayer answered for the folks that were going without food. And these factor meals, these are meals that are nutritionally balanced. They're not steak and lobster, but I'm going to tell you something. The ones that I saw, they're pretty decent. I got to tell you the truth. I mean,
I was just at the hotel just before I came in here, and I saw those meals. We've got them stacked up in a smaller freezer that Jenna brought in, and yeah, they look pretty good.
Yeah,
I'd eat them.
I mean, really. I mean, I felt that way on all of them. And
they look good.
And they're packaged in such a way. I believe each of the rooms have microwaves, but one of the things too, working with Greg, there's been some other people that, in fact, John Pringy does auctions, and he says, hey, listen, if I come across a few microwaves and somebody has a need, he'll bring some.
Yeah, it's hit or miss in the rooms. Not all the microwaves work.
Well, but they're a community.
We're going to try and take care of that.
They could share with each other.
We're going to figure out how to take care of that.
But one of the greatest things, I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to the bottom of the hour, was, again, now we shift over a little bit to Mike Warren with the Rotary Club. And we were able to get some funds now from the Rotary, matching funds. So it's going to be a cooler that could be used all the time. food for Greater Elgin can hang on to. Who cares who has it? But the idea is whoever has a need after this situation, that cooler could go to the next person. But what this cooler is going to do, even though Jenna had reached out for the Elgin Township supervisor to give some help, maybe that won't be as much of a need, but we'll have to see how it all rolls out, because this cooler will be on site. The Lexington was gracious enough to allow this cooler to stay there. And then another reach out, because Greg, once again, had his hand up and said, I'll help. And now he's got me saying, okay, I'll go there too. So I don't mind helping. I really don't. This is such a great cause. And I think it's going to be wonderful. But Greg will pretty much manage and monitor the meals that will be going distributed.
Yeah, I'll be managing the food services at the Lexington. I was asked to handle that, and I said, absolutely.
Yeah. And what we're going to do, because we're hitting that time that I know you guys are going to hear, here it is, it's that time. So when we come back, Greg's going to talk about distribution, because that was really one of the biggest things, is people were not getting food. And we've heard some great stories about what these people and what they're getting excited to do. So there's a whole bunch more we're going to talk about. So, hey, listen, this is a short little break. You're listening to WRMN 1410 on the AM dial. Listen to the app, Dino's Night Out, and we'll be back in just a few short moments. I'm going to have Mike Warren join us as well when we come back from the bottom of the hour. Thank you very much. We'll see you in just a little bit. Dino's Night Out.
Dino's Night Out on WRMN. It's the talk of the town. So come on and listen now.
This is WRMN News.
Hello, I'm Dennis Green. A lawsuit by the Justice Department against Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and other Illinois officials says state laws keep federal immigration authorities from doing their jobs. News Nation's Mills Hayes reports.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson took to X saying that the lawsuit is under review by the city's law department, adding that the safety and security of Chicago residents remains the top priority, but the city will continue to protect the working people of our city and defend against attacks on our longstanding values. Now, Johnson accused the Trump administration earlier this week of trying to get the city of Chicago to surrender its humanity, and that's something that the city was not going to do. And Johnson has continued to call on the president to work with Congress to pass immigration reform laws.
The lawsuit also names Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling, and Cook County Board President Tony Pretwinkle. The basis of the suit says that Illinois Trust Act and Chicago's Welcoming Ordinance violate U.S. Constitution, specifically the Supremacy Clause, which states that federal law takes precedence over state laws. The Trump administration is vowing to keep up the fight to end birthright citizenship in the United States. News Nation's Alicia Neves reports that's despite a Supreme Court ruling that's been on the books for decades.
It may be an uphill fight for the Trump administration with a precedent set at the Supreme Court in this case more than a century ago, where the High Court ruled that children born to the U.S. to Chinese parents who were prohibited from becoming U.S. citizens at that time were citizens under the 14th Amendment. This case likely to go all the way up to the Supreme Court again.
President Trump's executive order is on hold indefinitely after two federal judges called it unconstitutional.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 30. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 25. Tomorrow, a slight chance of snow before 9 a.m. Then, a chance of freezing rain between 9 a.m. and noon, with snow and freezing rain likely later. Cloudy with a high near 33. Currently, it is 29 degrees and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Dino's Night Out on WRMN.
Hey, we're back. WRMN 1410, Dino's Night Out, and I got some great guests in the studio. We got Greg Schiller, right over here to my left, and Andres Diaz. Andres is from the Food for Greater Elgin and Street Reach. That's where Greg's from. We're going to have a guest joining us in just a few short seconds on the radio, or on the phones, rather, and that's Mike Warren. You know, and I said earlier, and I think it's important to repeat, that this is just a community initiative, that went full circle. It's all about, support, involvement, and service. And I think if we all remember that, each one of us could play a role in this. This is not just a city problem. This is a community problem. And this is something that we have to address as people. And I think it's definitely taken some good turns in the right direction. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go right to the phone call. And I think I've got Mike Warren on the line. Mike, you on?
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
So, Mike, why don't you, everybody else had a little opportunity. I kind of told them your background. You're an entrepreneur. You've got the Britain's Car Wash, my brother with the Rotary Club, and you actually served on the board for many years over the Food for Greater Elgin. So go ahead, take it away a little bit. Give a little insight. Let the people hear.
Oh, well, I mean, it's really not about me. I mean, I've been in this community my whole life, and I have a lot to be thankful for and given back to. And so when I heard that, there might be, a situation where food was an issue, and I think you guys talked about that's an easy issue to solve, right? So a few people getting together, coming up with a plan, and we're, really close to finalizing that. And so I'm happy to be a part of it, but I think, like what you just said, Dean, the city, this is not the city of Elgin's problem. Like, this is an issue that needs to be addressed, and the city has done a heavy lift by actually, relocating these folks and paying for that. And, I mean, this is a logistical, challenge that nobody's ever done ever that I know of. And,
Not in Elgin.
We seem to have made, and we've seemed to have made, that heavy lift, and we're definitely going to have more bumps along the way. But as long as we just tackle those things as they come up as a community and not just blame the city or rely on the city government to solve these things, this is a community thing. And that's when I heard that food thing. I'm like, hey, I'm on the board at the food pantry. We have lots of food. Let's fix that problem. And, whatever the next problem is, let's just figure it out. Let's not bash the city because they didn't think about it or they didn't know it was coming or whatever. There's lots of organizations that can use our help, or they could use our help with. I'm sure there's more, like figuring out how we can get them transitional housing. How can we get them the mental health services they need? So, let's check food off the list and let's move to the next thing. that helps those folks live the best life that they can. And
Amen, brother.
I'm not sure I'm not sure what level that might be, but whatever gives them the best chance for success or whatever they're going to be, let's just work together and give them that chance.
And that's what we've been saying. Let's be that support. Let's give them, and broken record, cliche if you want to call it, but let's give them the hand up and not the hand out. I think there's a lot of folks there that are looking for this opportunity to make the change in their life. Talking with Greg, again, was there last week, Saturday, and 7 in the morning, and we heard 4 different people talk about, man, I got a place I'm able to clean up. I'm able to get myself out, find me some employment, and, get a little more independent. I mean, how about it, Greg?
Yeah. I mean, I've said since I was on the show with Chief Lally that, this plan, it's not a perfect plan. It's not a great plan, but it's what we have. So let's make it work. And it's going to take all of us to do that. It's no one person is going to be able to make this all work together. Yeah. We have to work together and figure it all out and just do it.
And I was really pleased and, honored to work with, you, Mike, and I was telling everybody, you were in my office on regular business we had, and then 1, 2, 3, you involved Andres, Greg was involved, Mark had his input with the township and everything, and look how things happen. But go ahead, Andres, what were you going to say?
I was going to make the point about part of the reason why this has been a successful partnership because of the different stakeholders is every partner has its own operational competence. We do food, we deliver food, we bring in food. Last year we brought in over 3 million pounds of food, so this is what we're good at. And the mayor has talked about Eckert Center, also been involved. They have their core competence, Greg's core competence as well. And then on the funding side, Mike and Rotary pitched in to come up with funding for us to be able to buy a commercial cooler. The city and the great work that Jenna has also done, and yourself, Dean. So again, everyone brings his or her own competence and operational excellence, and that's why we're able to make this work together.
And Mike hit the nail on the head. It's not me, it's we. And
it's us, yes.
You know what I mean? And this is something that, again, a community all pulling together, and which is one thing I talked to my partner, Dennis, and what we'll do here at WRMN for any listeners, any business listeners or any personal listeners, you want to make a donation, you give us a $250 donation, you come on this radio station, we'll give you a piece of production you can put on your website. We'll put some commercials your way as well. But this not only promotes your business, which I know that wouldn't be why you're doing it. I know you want to help these individuals, but we then have an opportunity to talk about what's going on. And every time one of these donors come, we will direct them where to send us money. Social services is really the next step. We've got them, folks, to the point where they're comfortable, or at least as comfortable as they can be. You're never going to make everyone happy. They're being fed nutritional meals. And now the next step is, some people could use that boost. Some people are going to, could use a little assistance on making that next step into transition. They've had to operate and act a certain way before. Well, things are a little bit different. So I think this is a big step forward for everybody. Jenna Henson is in charge of, the City Point person, but what a task she's had by herself. So by sharing the load and allowing other people to help, I think says a lot too. So,
many hands make light work, right?
Doesn't it though? I mean, I've already told you.
Think that's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that's the next step, right? Like, we have some people in a new place, and we need, Jenna or Greg or advocates to say, hey, here's the next need. We need 2 social workers, or we need 2 of these things or that thing, and then just get the word out, and then folks like me or others or other community groups are going to be like, oh, I can raise money for that. I can solve that piece of the puzzle, or I can connect people together that can bring value to that particular issue or problem, and then we'll just keep moving forward. If nobody said anything about food, then we wouldn't have known about that to fill that gap. So, in a thoughtful, respectful way, identify what the next gaps are, and some people will step up to fill them. I mean, there's lots of community agencies around, Rotary, Kiwanis, American Legion, there's 30 of them, and all of them can put the oar in the water and keep the boat moving forward. So,
well, we thank you, Mike, for calling in. Anybody who is interested, call the studio live if you have some questions for Greg or Andres or Mike for as long as he holds on. It's 847-931-1410, 847-931-1410. Call our station anytime. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to take some of those donations and put them to where they need to go. So,
and on that donations point, for people who do want to make a donation, we have our Instagram, our Facebook, are up and running with a link so people may go to them and to make a donation to defray the expenses that we have to incur in order to continue to do this. Also on our website, because the commitment we made to Jenna and to the city and to Greg is on a weekly basis, we're going to deliver 45 to 50 boxes of what's called shelf-stable food. These are things,
that's above and beyond
right,
what Greg is actually going to be
factor meals, yeah.
handling.
Exactly.
I'll be a son of a gun. Okay.
And so that's going to
new.
be on a weekly basis through mid-May. And again, people are certainly encouraged to help us financially to offset those expenses.
How would they do
well.
that? What's your website so people could go there?
Foodforgreaterelgin.org. Putting in ffge.org also works. And again, on Facebook and on Instagram, we're there. And people will be able to pick the amount, obviously, that they feel comfortable with.
Beautiful. That's a great thing. I didn't know that they were doing those. Did you know about that, Greg?
I just heard.
Yeah.
Just before we went on the air, I just heard about it.
So
we're not. I thought we were just going to get the factor meals.
Yeah.
And then he explained that
that's a bonus.
They've also signed on to deliver the food boxes too. So that's wonderful. That's
and
great.
again, this is what we do. We, for a long time, we have delivered boxes to AID, to the homeless population in Elgin. We've partnered with Elgin Police Department. Your own Mark here has helped to deliver boxes of food to people with disabilities who cannot
Yeah, I know he does that
leave.
weekly. Mark Ubico's
So we also have that through senior services.
Mhm.
So again, this is our core competence. This is what we do.
This is all great news. Greg, you got to be.
I'm tickled.
You got to be right.
Well, I came on here a few times now talking about food being an issue. People were not eating and not eating properly, and I wanted to somehow take care of that issue. We set up a donation drop point to be able to take in groceries that were non-perishable that we can deliver to the people at the hotel. In the interim, while we're trying to work all of this out that we're talking about right now, and this is happening really fast. So, as soon as we get that cooler down there and are able to start, storing a lot of food, we are going to be in business, and people will be getting fed regularly, and it will no longer be an issue.
Mike, go ahead. You were saying something?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about the food pantry because that is our core competency. And, we're all about client choice. So if these people were mobile, they would come to the pantry and walk around with a shopping cart. If you haven't been to the food pantry, it's a credible resource for our community because I guarantee if you did show up to volunteer or if you need to come to get food, you'll see people just like you that, just falling on hard times. A lot of our clients have 1, 2, maybe 3 jobs, but they just can't. Their kid gets sick or their car breaks down, and they're just on the edge. And we can help them with, a couple $100. Everybody goes to the grocery store. You're going to drop $100 or $150 filling that cart up, and we can give that to them so that they can pay for their kids' medicine, or the senior can afford their electric bill because we've helped them out with food. And another big, kind of thing about that is we would prefer $1 than a can of green beans, because we can make that $1 turn into $8 or $9 worth of food, because we're able to secure food differently than you going to Aldi or Jewel and spending your money on that product. So just super important. We don't have to pay for a lot of the food we get, but we have to pay the gas for the truck and the insurance and the guy driving the truck. And so we use those dollars in a different way because we have access to food that other people don't have. And so if you're passionate about helping our hungry neighbors, there's no better place than the food pantry to make that donation. But, you know, these folks need other resources too. So if you're passionate about mental health or job training, you know, there's organizations in Elgin that could use your money or your volunteerism or your advocacy to help all of our neighbors, let alone the folks in Tent City that, you know, are really challenged right now. But I guarantee, you know, we live in a community where there's a lot of need. And I'm thankful that I live here, that we can provide a safety net for those folks. Because I know, I mean, there's been times in my life I've been a paycheck or two away from having to figure out what to do next. And I'm grateful that I'm able to give right now. Dean, you said it, or I think the mayor said it best yesterday. When you need help, ask for it. And when you can help, help.
Give it.
Yep, give it.
Yeah, the Rotary Club mayor was there, and I tell you, and he's another one like Chief Anna Lally always says, you know, I stay in my lane, and that's us too. We know what we're either good at or what we can accomplish, what we could do. Greg's got the relations with the individuals because he's been there. When he's been there with Street Reach, he's got that connection, just like Angela and Odalise
Yeah.
and Joe. So, I mean...
And don't forget Perla Sanchez.
And Perla Sanchez.
She's part of our team,
Yes,
too.
apologize. But these are great people, and these are the heroes of all of this. Each and every one of them that are keeping the connection together, making everybody work together, making everybody work within the city. You know, city did their thing. They got housing. Social services, I think, is a real key piece to this. Ironically, I'm going to have a guest on after, you know, in the next hour, Pastor Jared, and he's going to talk about a program that he's doing through his congregation. But nonetheless, there's so many groups out there. I believe the Eckert Center and AID is what the city is working through now, and they're asking, you know, for them, maybe we can get them over to the Lexington and maybe have some interviews, maybe have some one-on-one chats and talks. I think
we need to get the people assessed so that we can get them to the resources.
But
that
getting
they
them
need.
fed was huge. And let me tell you
That's
something.
a big weight off our shoulders.
You can't wait till this is over because I know you're going to call your crew and tell them about them other boxes being delivered.
They're at the hotel waiting for me
are
right
they?
now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope they're listening.
They're doing
Good.
some outreach down there now.
But Andreas, how you were able to pull that off, that's great. And what Mike is saying, and I'm going to let you finish on that, you know, the fiscal donations, the dollar bills are what really mean. If you have $5, five's enough. We're not twisting nobody's arm here because if 10 people get $5, that's a lot of money. When I made that appeal to the businesses, you know, they got a little bit different budget for that $250. They're going to get a little exchange off of that as well. So don't let that scare you off on sending in a donation. And you've already heard from Andres where you could send it, but I am just tickled to hear that other staples of food are going to be delivered.
We're going to have plenty of food.
And
That's great.
I got the tour
Thank you.
2 days ago. How about that, huh, Greg? Really?
It's awesome.
I got the tour 2 days
Thank
ago, and what a facility.
Thanks. We were able to expand it, nearly doubling the warehouse space, approximately finished 12 months ago. And we added, as I said, a very large cooler and a freezer. And I would like to underscore something both Mike said and the mayor said around at some point everyone needs help. And one of the things that we strongly believe in, backed up by data, is that people come to the pantry when they need us. 50% of the people come to our pantry come no more than twice every 12 months. And we like to think that we help to stabilize lives by providing food, which is obviously a core need. And also, in terms of giving back, again, what the mayor said, what Mike said, is we couldn't do what we do without well over 200 volunteers. We're open 5 days a week, each day for a window of approximately 2 hours. And again, if people have the time to volunteer, there are many ways that people can help us as well, and we're very, very grateful for all that volunteer help as well.
And you're on a limited paid staff over there. I know Mike said that, there's salaries to pay and equipment and trucks and what have you. But for the amount of people that I saw on the staff and the amount of work, Greg, if have you been to the facility?
I haven't. I've not been there.
You got to take. I'll go with you. We'll take a tour together.
I want to.
You will be
I wanna
so
see this
impressed.
place.
Clean. It's just and there's name brand foods that are in there. It's not like, oh, this is the knockoffs, expired dates. Everything is ready and good to eat.
And it takes over 200 people to do what you do.
Volunteers.
Yes, on an annual basis.
That's a massive operation.
Thanks. We, again, are grateful for
That's impressive.
all the help. We have a total of 8 paid staff. And through the good fortune of many foundations and partners, some local, for example, the Hoffer Foundation, Siegel Foundation, Baustert Foundation. These are private foundations that have been extremely helpful to us. They allowed us to buy equipment, put in the cooler. Other partners, Panels Plus, Mechanical 24. So many local businesses allow us to be as successful as we are.
And you mentioned that figure as far as how many pounds come in and go out regular. Say that again.
Yeah,
Because now you'll understand the
over
200
3 million
pounds.
pounds of food on an annual basis. This calendar year will help approximately 160,000 people, which unfortunately demonstrates that there's a continued need. But again, as I said before, people use us.
It's a sad
when they need
commentary,
us.
isn't it? On what's going on with our society, that you need that much help.
And like you say, sometimes Mike's identified it very well. Groceries are expensive.
Yeah, no, they are.
They are just over the top. And it's not going to go away overnight. So maybe you're having a struggle for a week. So you go there and you're able to, like you say, shop for the foods. And I think I was maybe more impressed about the facility is that you can shop for your appetite. If you like spicy food, you can get the spicy. There's chips there. There's Andre's candies. Those mints you get at the nice restaurants when you're walking out.
Yeah.
There's boxes of them over there. And I couldn't believe it. And then those factor meals. Oh my God, there's such a variety. You walk out of there hungry or not able to take care of your family. Let me tell you something. It's like going to a Jewel. Really is.
That's what we try to do, is to make it and to give the guest, as we call them, or sometimes neighbors, the choice, to your point. And therefore, we choose items as best we can that reflect what people eat. For example, we now have close to 8% protein, and half of that is non-meat protein, again, reflecting trends in eating habits, diet habits. Approximately 30% of the food that we have is a combination of vegetables and fruits, either fresh produce, obviously more in summer, or on a canned basis. So along with grains. So we do provide a largely nutritional. And yes, of course, we do have chips and candy, as you mentioned earlier.
You got to have snacks.
How about a family has children, and it's nice that they do have that, that it's not just, here's the basics and that's it. It's nice
needs my Doritos.
There you go. Hey, listen, before Mike, we're going to give you 30 seconds. You want to say anything in closing? Because I'm going to do the same to these gentlemen because we're getting to the top of the hour, sir.
I would just say, Dean, thanks for giving a platform for the information to be shared so that other people can step up and find where their role is to make a difference. Greg, you being the boots on the ground, that's it. It's super powerful, right? We can't do it without people being very close to the situation. And Andres, your leadership at the pantry has propelled that organization to a completely different level at a time when our community needed that resource. And so just thank you for all of you folks for doing what you do.
All right, there's
Thank
that
you.
Thanks,
payoff
Mike.
music, Mike. Thank you for
Thank you.
calling. All right, folks, you heard it. This is quite an initiative that's gone on. A lot of good. Kudos to the city of Elgin, everybody that's made it happen.
My hat's off to
How about it, right? We can
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
down list of names. Nobody here is looking for their name to be rung up, but this is what we do here at WRMN. We are a community radio station for you. So please call us, WRMN 1410. You have a need, you have a situation. This is your platform. We want to be community broadcasters. We've brought it back to report on what's happening in the Fox River Valley. Today, it's about Elgin, and that's okay. Tomorrow it could be about Hampshire. The next day could be about Geneva. But this pantry reaches out to everybody. Am I correct?
That is correct. We have about 72% of the people are from the greater Elgin area, Elgin Township. But we have people who come to our pantry from Waukegan, Rockford, south from Aurora, even the city of Chicago.
We're still broadcasting on the YouTube side, but on the radio side, the antenna, we've got commercials are running right now. But I thank you guys again. Greg, thank you very much for being here.
You bet.
For all
Thank
your
you.
hard work. Andres,
Thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You put a fair amount of time into this and helped out quite a bit, Dino.
That's what we do.
I
That's what we
appreciate
do.
it.
Thank
We're
you.
helping our brothers and sisters. And Andres, what a pleasure to have met you. Thank you. And I mean that
Likewise.
sincerely. Gentlemen,
Likewise.
God
Thank
bless you
you.
both. Thanks for everything
God
that's
bless you.
happened.
Thanks, everybody.